Bonobos. Welcome to my channel, Learning Bell's Life. Today we are going to talk about isotopes. In the previous episode, I talked about how radioactive isotopes were very important in case of medical, means in all types of medical study it was important, like for example PET scanners, etc. But a little high exposure could lead to some problems. Today we will talk about radiometric dating, which also involves radioactive isotopes. Our topic is radiometric dating. Before we move on to radiometric dating, we must understand how fossils means all of the fossil-related stuff. You know how scientists are very eager to know about the timeline of any of these old organisms who are now fossilized. The scientists are really eager to know those, the timeline. Radiometric dating helps tell us that timeline. But like fossils are layered, actually. Even though fossils are layered, we cannot understand like which was the first one, which was the second one, like that. That's not so clearly understandable. That is where the radioactive isotopes come into play. The radioactive isotopes. If you can recall from the previous episode, I gave an example of a radioactive isotope, which was the carbon-14, C14 isotope. That was a radioactive isotope. Radioactive isotopes are not that stable. They decay very easily. It means they break down into their subatomic particles. They're not as stable as the other isotopes. Like in case of carbon, it's carbon-12, and also one rarely found isotope, that is carbon-13, that's used in NMR. But we're not going into those. But those are the common ones. C14 is the radioactive one. Now, why are radioactive isotopes important in case of radiometric dating? First, we have to understand that they decay, right? As I say, they decay from the parent isotope to the daughter isotope. Isotope to daughter isotope. Now, that 50% time which it takes to decay is called the half-life of that isotope. Half-life of the isotope. That is the 50% of time that it takes to decay from the parent isotope to the daughter isotope, and then the rest 50% of its life, it will decay fully, and then there will be no parts left. That's what the meaning is. It's a half-life. Now, half-life is not dependent on any environmental conditions like heat, pressure, etc. Heat, pressure, and other environmental factors don't affect the isotope. Don't affect the half-life. It's just how it's supposed to happen. Now, half-lives, there are different ranges of half-life. For example, there are very short spans of half-life, like 1 minute. Very short half-lives, for example, it can even be minutes, seconds, or days. But, like, there's a record, like for example, uranium-238, the isotope, uranium-238, the half-life is 4.5 billion years. Yes, that's right, 4.5 billion years. Half-life is 4.5 billion years. These isotopes are very important for radiometric dating, which tells us the timeline of different fossils. That's what is radiometric dating. We can find the fossils, let's say the dinosaur. I'm just giving a rough example, like let's say the dinosaur, and they are layered actually. So these isotopes can be used. Their half-lives tell us that they help us actually for radiometric dating. It's very important. That's the significance of radioactive isotopes. From the previous episode and this episode, we can understand that radioactive isotopes have a great contribution in most of our lives. Like I say, for medical purposes, it was used in PET scanners to check the metabolism. It can be used as tracers, actually. We talked about tracers, radioactive tracers, and this is radiometric dating. Like, it's almost the same thing here. It's tracing the timeline of the old fossils, and there it was tracing the metabolism of the body. It can be incorporated into the bodily fluids, and it can track the metabolism. Also, in PET scanners, it's used to understand the metabolism and the growth of the cancerous cells so that later on doctors can treat it. So radioactive isotopes have a great contribution in humans' lives. Now you may take a look at the board. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and please like, share, and subscribe my channel, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you!